Yeah.
And that was the last time I read this poem. It's a birthday poem. Nobody fishing. Wish anything 7 times on birthday, indigo bunting emerges, reeling through fleeting rhombus of rhododendron, fireflies over Stockbridge, beacon for 1,000 miles. Don't say no one's home. Don't say no one's fishing. Say the creek is filled with anglers. Declare yourself soluble. Forms cast from sky land on short-term parking for the healing arts. Become defined. What it is, baby, what it is. Bouncing into the room, chewing meditation gum, is leaves, falling limbs, mice skulls, is submersible rage hurled into Lake Garfield. For chum will not endure, like the heart, like Ali's knuckles, the way bone sets, the way rakers combing minnows stuff onion sacks, spooning, spinning, trolling deep water. Seek spirit in the bait and tackle, and then, when it is, baby, let out the line with care. Never give up on love's lure. Don't say God doesn't manifest. Say, I'm Ben Franklin's bastard, Mom. Say, you've distinguished yourself in many fields. Say, anything else is. Green frogs sing hymns tonight. Everyone sleeps happy.
Oh, yeah.
So that's from quite a while ago. This is pretty recent. This one is about a place I used to go to when I lived in Brooklyn all those years, a place called Jamaica Bay. On lunch hours, I'd seek in those linen banks of egret a counterpoint to hell. Every time the F-train rattled over marsh, mute swans drifted in the pond, and cormorants rose above the raunt, circling rotting pilings for a landing. And though I couldn't abide its misbegotten boundary of Phragmites and fallen sparks in mud, its omnivorous creatures skimming the far field, it was a sanctuary years ago I wandered from. I wanted to open with 2 women walking through a field at first light where bees sonicate flowers, shaking their flight muscles in a frequency similar to Middle Sea, a place you could see aquamarine where there was only white, but in my mind I kept thinking Jamaica Bay. So I waited in my new city and visited places never given their due, the library parking lot where the snow this week mounds over the drop-down view of a neighborhood, toothpick steeples and weathered crosses, the old fire station tower in the distance. And I stopped in the aisles of a market on a Saturday morning, neighbors in conversation, by the yogurt, by the sausage, catching up while more snow buried their windshields, barricading the byways where hexagons filled soft edges. Each season the refuge turned. It was never one thing, but a compilation of gardens, mudflats, dunes that vanish and reappear. Each year I found myself somewhere else and came to treasure the buffeting of unexpected love. I still ache when I remember the bay on one side, the wind and light along the sandy trails. But the hold of that oasis rests in me still, as when one dawn I saw 2 women walking the salt marsh, turning horseshoe crabs right side up, placing them back in shallow water. So I'll read one more, I'm not sure which one. The Bears of Florence is an older one.
Ah, the Bears.
And another one called Happenstance. I haven't read The Bears of Florence. The Bears of Florence, Massachusetts. I've added Massachusetts to the title, in case there was confusion. So it begins in the classroom when a student asks a question after the teacher has read a poem about birds. And then it goes to a lot of other places. The Bears of Florence, Massachusetts. Up till Nick asked, "What's a starling?" the instructor assumed the students knew to connect the metaphor of the trapped bird with the speaker's child. Now he'd realized the worst, but instead of asking Nick his opinion, he offered suggestions. A miniature star just born, a foundling, a sapling, an inkling, a seedling, a tingling, a rustling, a speckled bird at your side every day of your short life. Things are not quite as bad as they seem. I always anticipated death as a small fire, easily extinguished. I always believed a faint dawn chorus would be heard once in winter. I always expected black bears to return before the vernal equinox. Money in the bank, late February, they'd leave their hibernacula, raid our feeders, but after 26 were killed last hunting season, they've gone missing. Spring enters in late winter as we turn 20, near 40, approach 60, in cropped brown hills of longing. Then witch hazel unfurls its spirals of red and yellow. In the dream it gets quieter, forced forsythia slowly burst. Colossal woodpeckers play tag all the rainy morning. Mid-April, starlings, specklings, sparkles in iridescence, smoke pluming from the yearly burn chalks the sky. Under repetitive song of vireo and billowing call of cardinal, sow and boar lumber up the driveway with their undulating hugeness, small eyes, round ears and short tails, back scratch against hemlock, leave trace of cinnamon hair. Turning toward thorned blackberries, one claws the soft ground, uncovers a burrow of sweat bees, jams hive into jaws and tongue. Out of need for home, out of hunger, out of roaming spirit, they face invisible stars, faint nail of moonlight, urge towering, insolent, unyielding.